as yesterday we have started the chapter that is demand. Today we are going to study about demand curve and its slope. Well, when we talk about demand curve and its slope, it is very important to understand about what is demand schedule. Rather, we have studied this topic before also, but I am just giving you a small glimpse of what is demand schedule. Any of the table which is telling you about the price and quantity of any specific commodity, that kind of schedule is known as demand schedule. Here I have shown you a specific schedule. Here we can take X as T, simply any of the commodity that we can take here. Here I have taken the price of T and the quantity of T. When I talk about the price of T, that means when the price of T, which was in rupees, when it was 1 rupee, then the person was ready to buy 4 units of tea. And when the price of the commodity raised from 1 to 2, the price of the tea which was being demanded by the consumer has reduced from 3 to 4 to 3, and so on. This is moving on. Now when we talk about the demand curve, again I have already told you that every time we have to mark the x-axis and y-axis. Always remember, students, we will always take the money or the price related things on y-axis and the units will be denoted on x-axis. Now as we know that price is 1, 2, 3, 4 and the quantity is also 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now see, when the price of a commodity was 1, the person was ready to buy 4 units of any commodity. When the price of the commodity was 2, the person was ready to buy 3 units. As the price of the commodity raised from 2 to 3 rupees, the person was ready to buy only 2 units. And when the price of a commodity raised to 4 units, the person was ready to buy only 1 commodity of that, 1 quantity of that unit. So see, these are the different combinations which are being made, and by joining out all these different combinations, we get a linear curve, something like this. Rather, it is always being taken as a straight curve. Is that so? But here, as we are joining out the combinations without the help of a scale, as I am doing it on the scale on the whiteboard, that is why it's not a straight line. Usually, the demand curve is always being taken as a straight linear line. Price and the quantity of X commodity. Is that clear? So this is something, the price and the demand curve slope. The slope of the demand curve is always coming negative, up from down, from left to right. It is always have a negative slope. Always remember, students, when we talk about any curve which is having a negative slope, that means the person is having a negative relationship between the price and quantity. That means if the price will go up, the quantity will get down. As and when the price is moving up, the quantity is getting down. This states that there is a negative relationship between price and quantity. Am I clear, students? Now we are moving on to the individual demand curve and market demand curve. As we have already seen the demand curve having this kind of slope, now can we talk about the individual demand curve? See, when we talk about the individual demand curve, see, there are 3 individual demand curves. Okay, I'll make small one here so that it will be more easily visible to you. 1, 2 and 3. See, X and Y. Over here price is being taken and here quantity is being taken. Now see, as we have taken the price demand curve of X commodity of one person, demand curve of Y commodity for another person. When we have these 2 demand curves which are called as individual demand curves, and when we add up both these demand curves, and then there is a flatter demand curve which was made by X and Y both. By adding up any of the individual demand curves, we can derive the market demand curve for a specific commodity. That means this is for customer A, this was for customer B. That means these were the individual demand curves of customer A and B, and when we add up these two demand curves, we can derive a market demand curve of A plus B. So this is something we called as the market demand curve. These were the topics that we have studied even on that day also when we had our class last. But today the important next topic that we are going to have is the demand function. What is demand function? This is something very important. What is demand function? Well, when we talk about demand function means there are some of the very important things on which a person's demand is dependent upon. Demand function is that function which tells us about the specific things on which a person's demand is dependent upon. In other words, we also can say that the determinants of the demand of one consumer are known as demand function. Now, how we need to denote this? See, demand is functionally related. Demand of X commodity is functionally related to the price of X commodity. Whatever things demand we are making out, the same things price is most important thing to be taken in consideration, the first thing. Next is price of related commodities. Now, what are related commodities? For example, on that day we have studied, when we were talking about IC curve analysis, we have studied about substitute goods. Can you remember substitute goods? Substitution effect. That means the things which can be used on another place. For example, pen, pencil. For example, scooter, bicycle. For example, tea, coffee. These all were substitute goods. But they are also known as related goods. There are different kinds of goods. What we call about as substitute goods, complementary goods, normal goods, giffen goods. We will study about all these kind of goods this year in the same chapter. So all these related goods are also important, or I should say the price of these related goods are also very important. For example, if I talk about tea and coffee, if the price of tea is affected, I should say if the price of tea is high and the price of coffee is as it is, what will happen? The person is ready to buy the same amount of coffee instead of taking tea in the same amount if the price of tea is high. And the vice versa will happen. That means the price of the related goods affects the demand for that commodity for any specific consumer. And that is why this determinant is important. Next thing comes up as Y. Y comes up as the income of the consumer. Income of the consumer is also very important. Like for example, if your pocket don't allow you to have any of the specific thing and you have demand, does it make any sense? No. So that means income also plays a very important role for the consumer's demand or satisfaction. The third thing is demand, income. Fourth thing comes up as expectations, then taste, then preferences and many other things. So these are the different determinants for the demand function. Now when we talk about demand function, here also we divide the demand function into market demand and individual demand. This demand function is of individual demand function. That means individually any person's demand is functionally related to these commodities. Students, please pay attention here. The sequence of all these things should not be changed. For why is that so? Because taste, preferences, fashion, these things comes at the end. But the first thing that comes into consideration for any person is the price of its own commodity. Then the price of related goods. Then income. So these things are always taken in a specific sequence and we are not supposed to change this sequence. I'm just writing down the things here. This is price of own commodity. If you want, you can write down price of own commodity, then price of related goods. Related goods we have already studied, but I will let you know about them later on also. Then income of consumer, and E stands for expectations, then T stands for taste and preferences, taste, and P stands for preferences. Am I clear, students? So this is something the individual demand function for one consumer. Now when we talk about law of demand, this is something very important and an important topic for this chapter. Law of demand. What is law of demand? Law of demand states that, first I am giving you the formal definition of law of demand. Law of demand states that other things remaining constant, when the price of a commodity rises, the quantity demanded falls, and when the price of the commodity falls, the quantity demanded rises. This is something we called above as law of demand. Now here there are some words where I think you should have a doubt. The first thing that I have told you here was other things remaining constant. Now what are these other things remaining constant, or I'll write down so that for a proper understanding. What are these other things remaining constant? Just now I have told you demand is functionally related to price of X commodity, price of related commodities, income, taste, fashion, expectations, preferences, YD, N, and N number of things are there. Is it so? These were the things. I'll say here, if I divide this demand function into two parts, here price and these all are other things. So when we talk about these all things remaining constant, there are no change that occur in any of these things. When there is no change that occurs in any of these things, only the price of the own commodity is affected. When the price of X commodity rises, what will happen? The quantity of that commodity decreases. And when the price of that commodity falls, the quantity of that commodity rises. This is something we called up as demand, law of demand. Law of demand states that, students, this language has to be in your mind, in your veins. What is demand? Law of demand? Law of demand states that other things remaining constant, when the price of the commodity rises, the quantity falls. When the price of the commodity falls, the quantity rises. Now, when we talk about the assumptions which are related to the demand function or the law of demand, what are the assumptions? As we all know, other things remaining constant. So that means the related goods prices should be constant, income of the person should be constant, taste, preferences, fashion, expectations, the distribution of income, then number of buyers, everything should remain constant. That means these all are your assumptions. Assumption means that you have already made your conditions controlled by you. Only one thing is changeable, and that one thing which is changeable is the price of own commodity. Am I clear? When these all things happens, so what will be the expectations for this law? That we have already studied as a demand curve. But still, when we talk about the formal law, the price of the commodity and quantity of the commodity. Price is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 4, 3, 2, 1. Is that so? Having a negative relationship, what will happen? The price of the commodity when falls, the quantity increases. So that means a demand curve like this will happen. That means these combinations we will be occurring with. Am I clear, students? So law of demand states that when the price of the commodity rises, the quantity falls. By having this schedule, we can plot this curve here as the explanation of this law. Am I clear? Now, when we talk about the market demand curve, the market demand function. Previously, we have studied about the individual demand function. Now, we will study about the market demand function. What is market demand function? Market demand function, as we already know, that the sum total of all individual demand functions is known as the market demand functions, as we have earlier done as individual demand function. When all the consumers of a commodity or all the consumers of an economy are been added up to all together, we get the market demand function. Here some of the things that we have already studied. The functional, this market demand function is functionally related to the price of own commodity, then price of related goods, then income, then taste, then expectations of the consumer. This N and YD, these things are something new. N stands for the number of buyers for that commodity. When we talk about number of buyers, that also makes a very important difference. I'll give you an example here. If you talk about like cars of BMW or Audi or Mercedes, you don't find a very high number of people who are buying these kind of cars. On the other hand, when we talk about like Maruti, like Volkswagen, like Tata, like Mahindra, when we talk about these kind of companies, the buyers of these cars are comparative to higher to that of these luxury cars. So that also gives a very important impact on the price of or the demand of that commodity. So that means number of buyers also plays a very important role, and YD stands for the distribution of income. Now distribution of income stands for like if you talk about in India, the distribution of income is very uneven. In the chapter you are going to study in next year, that is poverty, you can find out that many of the people in India are really very poor. On the other hand, a very big I should say section of our society is belonging from the middle section. On the other hand, a very small amount of people are also there in the aristocratic families, or I should say rich community. That means the distribution of income in India is not even, and because of that what happens, the demand also get affected as the distribution of income is not equal. As you have seen, the income plays an important role here. In the same way, the distribution of income also affects the market demand of that commodity. Am I clear, students?